Al Gore was the 45th Vice President of the United States. Today, he's the co-founder and chairman of Generation Investment Management, a firm focused on a new approach to sustainable investing. Mr. Gore is also a co-founder and chairman of Current TV, an independent-owned cable and satellite television network based on viewer-created content and citizen journalism. He's the author of An Inconvenient Truth, the best-selling book on global warming, and the subject of the Academy Award-winning documentary of the same title. For his work on climate issues, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2007. Today, through Skyroom, he joins us from Nashville, Tennessee, in the United States, to discuss the climate crisis and what we can do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce the Honorable Al Gore.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for allowing me to join you by means of this HP hookup. It does indeed avoid some carbon emissions, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you, and I look forward to responding to some of your questions after my prepared comments that I'm about to deliver. I want to thank Tony Proffitt and HP for the kind introduction, and along with HP, I want to thank all of the businesses that have served as sponsors of this event. Of course, I want to pay my respects and express my gratitude to the Republic of Korea for being such an outstanding host. It's been my experience on my many trips to South Korea that you always are wonderful hosts, and I've heard great things about how well this event has been put together. I want to acknowledge the role of the United Nations Environment Program, and Achim Steiner just spoke to you. I want to pay my respects to Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General, who has been, along with Achim, such an outstanding global leader in addressing the climate crisis. Also, for all of you who are members of the UN Global Compact, thank you very much for your great leadership. Indeed, the themes of collaboration and partnership have been fostered by the Global Compact, and I know that they are themes that are very much in evidence at this event. And thanks to Tony Gorley, whose organization has helped to organize and put together this event, and to WWF, the other principal sponsor of this event, thank you very much for making it possible for me to attend. This particular meeting coincides with the 40th anniversary of Earth Day, and 192 nations around the world are commemorating this event with all manner of celebrations and discussions and new commitments from business and government, NGOs, academics, civil society leaders of all kinds. So it is particularly appropriate that this morning's session in Seoul is off to such an outstanding start. I hope that all of you are feeling very positive about the role that business is playing in helping to catalyze a forceful response to the climate crisis worldwide. The opportunities that business leaders who have tackled this crisis have discovered as they get into the changes that not only reduce carbon emissions and other greenhouse gas emissions, but simultaneously make business operations far more efficient, have been truly encouraging. And while that is not always the result, it is more often than not the case that a focus on reduced emissions and reduced impact on the environment, when pursued intelligently, ends up making businesses more profitable by cutting costs in eliminating waste and inefficiency. Many of you could give more examples than I can, but I know of many, many examples where business leaders have been pleasantly surprised that efforts begun initially as a part of their effort to be good corporate citizens and to help improve the environment have ended up enhancing profitability as well. And I will return to that theme toward the end of my opening comments because I think it's a particularly important one to emphasize. I know that along with the positive feelings and the feelings of optimism, there is also no doubt a sense of concern that all around the world, in spite of all the efforts now underway, we do need to do more. There is concern, for example, that many governments are not yet playing their role by changing policies more rapidly enough. The Republic of Korea, I will note again, is one of the world's preeminent leaders in changing policies rapidly. And the stimulus program in Korea had the largest percentage devoted to green initiatives of any nation on the surface of the planet. That is something to be proud of. And on each of my visits there, I have been freshly impressed by the determination among policymakers, business leaders, and civil society leaders in Korea. I have also been very encouraged to see all around the world that business is rising to this challenge. Indeed, in many countries, I might say including prominently in my own country, business is actually ahead of government. And I would be remiss if I did not make mention of the fact that changes by the United States of America are needed desperately in order to catalyze a more coherent and better organized global policy response by governments. But I bring you some good news on that front. This coming Monday, there will be new legislation introduced in the United States Senate that does have a prospect of attracting enough votes in the next few months to secure passage. And in our House of Representatives, the lower chamber of Congress, as it's sometimes called, they have already passed this legislation. So while there is a struggle immediately ahead in the United States Congress, the odds are improving that we will see legislation that does accomplish significant reductions, a 17% reduction by 2020, in keeping with the general pledges that were agreed to at the meeting in Copenhagen last December. But I would like to take just a few moments at the requests of our hosts to give you a brief update on the evolution of this climate crisis, the latest data that the scientists have provided to policymakers, and then focus predominantly on the solutions that are available, and then close, as I promised, with a return to the emphasis on the role that business is playing. First of all, this crisis, as everyone knows, is unprecedented in its scale and in its severity. And many around the world have been surprised at how such a serious crisis could develop when nothing like it is found in our history. And of course, the answer is that over the last 150 years, we have seen a dramatic and unprecedented change in the relationship between human civilization and the ecosystem of our planet.